Ebro in the morning here. Rosenberg and Laura Styles. We have the legend Kurtis Blow on the program. Kurtis Blow. I asked Russell this. Would you say that you're the first hip hop superstar?
Oh my gosh, I you know.
I know it's hard. You're modest and all that.
We're called to be modest, but I'll say yes, definitely.
Well, no, because he was
doubt.
After Sugar Hill was Kurtis Blow as far as mainstream went, right? When Christmas rapping was a hit.
There's no question he's the first solo star of the.
Well, I was signed to a major label. That's my claim to fame. Is I was the first rapper or MC signed to a major label, and I delivered. I have the first certified gold rap song. So first to tour United States and Europe, and the first endorsement commercial and all that stuff. I have the stats.
Well, and the way I understand it, you know, you and Russell running around doing y'all craziness when y'all was being crazy back there.
Yes.
But also
him more so than me.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. But Sugar Hill, the Sugar Hill gang wasn't really in the hip hop scene. They wasn't really rappers. They was just kind of a group that was put together to make a song.
And would you believe a lot of cats, when that song Rappers Delight came out, a lot of Bronx MCs and DJs were really, really upset. And
why were they mad?
Because they felt that, you know, it was, you know, supposed to be for it was supposed to be for somebody in the Bronx. If you weren't from the Bronx, you didn't deserve to make the first rap record. So they were kind of upset, and there's a little jealousy and envy there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But also,
I was happy.
Big Bang Hank was a security guard, and he was taking Hollywood's club.
Kaz.
And
Kaz wrote the verse.
Kaz wrote the verse, right?
Right. He supposedly he stole the lyrics from Kaz, or you asked Kaz to use the lyrics, and Kaz said okay. And not knowing that, you know, there's publishing involved with the whole thing and credit, and your name should be on the record, and he didn't do that for Kaz. So, you know, there's a lot of animosity. But, you know, rest in peace to Big Bang Hank. You know, the old feuds are now gone away and long gone. So it's water under the bridge, and Kaz is cool now, and he's on
a Macklemore record, and he got paid handsomely for that.
He's still working and making money, and it's a good thing, you know?
Yeah.
I was talking to him about the Hip Hop Hall of Fame and museum that it's opening up, and he's going to be inducted in April.
Yes.
Who else? You were telling me who else?
Africa Bambaataa, myself, Houdini, and it's a good look for hip hop. We need to you know, just secure and procure our history and support it. And I'm actually working on another project called the Universal Hip Hop Museum with Bambaataa and Ice-T and Melly Mel and Theodore, and we've been talking to all the legends about really putting a museum together in the Bronx and in the South Bronx, and that's a big thing. So you can go to uhhm.org.
And now, you know, the South Bronx is going through a lot of changes. It looks nothing like...
You mean Sobro?
Sobro. They've named it Sobro. It's like a real... They're trying to turn it into like what Williamsburg had become, and businesses and young artists and young families moving there and buying those old buildings.
Well, they have great loft spaces there.
Right.
People, artists are moving out there. I know a lot of friends of mine have been looking at a lot of lofts out there.
Are you putting this museum, the Universal Hip Hop Museum, in one of in right there in the South Bronx?
Yes.
And is it and for that matter, with as much positive attention as hip hop is brought to the Bronx,
right?
I'm sure that the city and some of the borough president, isn't that
Yes, we have many. The mayor is backing this event. Of course, the Bronx borough president. We have all kinds of politicians.
That's Ruben Diaz, right?
And senators. Oh yeah, Ruben. Big shout out to Ruben Diaz. And, you know, the brick and mortar we want to take to the South Bronx, the old Bronx criminal courthouse. And it's a monumental landmark for the South Bronx. And we feel that, you know, hip-hop started in the Bronx, and it should have a museum, you know, just stating all of the facts about the history in the South Bronx where it was created. And, you know, it's for the future of the kids. I remember as a young kid, you know, just going on a field trip in elementary school, going to the Museum of Natural History. And just that feeling of being there and looking at all the sights and everything, it really, really reminds me of what it could be for hip hop. And I see a lot of schools and educators and teachers and principals having field trips, bringing their students to this museum.
And kids that have loved hip hop that are now in our 40s and 50s, I'm sure we would want to contribute that to our children.
Yeah.
And take them.
And there's a lot of things for the kids that we want to put in the museum, like interactive things. Like we'll have turntables there, and they can go and learn how to DJ and have a mic, and they
Rosenberg, maybe you could
get
teach.
up and do spoken
I
word.
can learn.
Hang on a second. But you can't really DJ that.
Yes, I can.
You good?
I can
I
teach.
thought you were teaching kids.
I
how
have
to
been
DJ.
teaching kids.
How to DJ?
Yeah. Really? Here and there.
Are you like for hire?
After School All Stars? No. They have a DJ class at After School All Stars, and I've been a guest lecturer, so I'll come in and just teach them a little the basics to blending.
Wiki.
Very basic.
Got it.
But you don't. I don't think that would be needed for the museum, but I would like to go enjoy it myself.
Oh, okay, right. But maybe there could be a class taught by the legend Rosenberg.
You're right. Put Grand Wizard Theodore in one room, and then me in the next room, right
How
next to the
dare
Grand
you.
Wizard
Blasphemy.
Theodore.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
On a serious note, though, how does it make you feel to, I know that like even us, as people who have loved it for a long time and feel that we are part of it in some way, take certain pride in certain things. And when you see Straight Outta Compton, or you see A Moment Happy, you feel a sense of pride. Like everyone loves this, but we're like a really deep part of it.
Right.
Now, imagine that feeling. Take it, and then you're Kurtis Blow. You're one of the true originators. You are living through, history. It must feel like, do you ever walk around when you see what this culture's become and think, oh my God, I really started this? Like, I'm one of the ones who started it.
No, it's a good feeling. It's honor. I feel blessed. I live in a dream world, and I've been saying it since 1980. But it's a really good feeling. I feel blessed. I thank God every morning when I open my eyes. And I was just watching this commercial, Chuck D.
Yo, saw it the other night with Welcome to the Terror Dome and the LeBron commercial.
James, right?
Hard.
And so
I was hyped.
I'm looking at this. I'm like, I had nothing to do with this commercial at all. But just to see how well LeBron was rapping those lyrics by Chuck D, right? It really seemed believable. Didn't it to you? It was like hard. And I was like, I had to tweet, big ups to Chuck D in the new commercial with LeBron. And you guys make me really feel proud to be a part of hip hop. And that's that feeling I get whenever I see something like that. And like getting back to the Sugar Hill Gang, when everybody in the Bronx was kind of angry, I was happy. I saw the future. Oh my gosh, these guys hit everybody, every car, every train, every bus had to play this Rapper's Delight records in 1979, and it was everywhere. And I just was like, oh my gosh, this is a career that we can have now. We have an opportunity to make records, and I just felt good about that. So whenever I see people do good in hip hop and they're successful, even Russell Simmons, my buddy, billionaire, Dr. Dre, billionaire. I feel good. I feel really good inside. And I don't feel jealous or envy. And I think that's, God in me. And I'm just thankful.
Do you run into cohorts of your era? Because the fact of the matter is, a lot of our greats got rich. And a lot of them did not, and a lot of them got accolades. And something moving forward, I'd love to see is ways to give back to a lot of those people.
Right.
But in the meantime, there's no denying that some people have had hard luck.
Yes.
And so, do you run into people who are not able to have the same sort of joy for it that you do because they're caught up, somewhat understandably,
of course,
in the jealousy and the sadness of it?
Yeah, my peers. I mean, I'm one of the few that can be happy. A lot of cats are frustrated and stressed. I mean, even meet people, fans, like that are over 40, over 50, and they don't like the new hip hop of today. I mean, let's face it, we live in a hip hop generation and a hip hop nation, but there's a generation gap. There's
big gap.
Hip hop generation gap. So in order for us to bridge the gap, we need to use love. That's the only way. So the hateration on the sidelines, That's not a part of the Kurtis Blow character, but I see it everywhere.
Does
And,
it? It's hard though because
it
a
is
lot
what
of,
it is. I have compassion for those guys because a lot of cats who were back in those days, 7, 8 years before the first rap records were made, they did not make the jump into light speed. We call it the jump into the making of rap records. After that, careers were either lost or you flourished. And so a lot of cats didn't make the jump. And I have compassion for them.
Cats that were rapping in the park and stuff that never even tried to get on record. They're like, I don't want to do that.
And
mainstream.
even they tried to get on it, but those first records were not successful.
Right.
And it became a whole new different, career, a whole new different job, and set of principles and learning. And you had to know how to count bars and listen to
songs,
music and make songs,
these
choruses,
same
and
problems
sing.
exist today.
And the key,
Yeah.
the circle of keys is science. Music is a science. So, that's a whole different world. Jump into light speed. And I have compassion for a lot of my brothers who didn't make it. And that's why we're doing the Universal Hip Hop Museum, so we could at least establish and let people know these cats, these pioneers, unsung heroes like the Buena Vista Social Club, those Cuban refugees who started salsa. They were a group of individuals in the South Bronx who didn't make that jump to light speed. So that's why we are giving them their props and establishing the true history so people can know, these cats really paved the way.
For the people listening and watching right now, we have like 1 million subscribers on YouTube. So shout to everybody who tunes into us and obviously the millions who listen to us over the air. Are there because I believe, I didn't have, the internet in the 80s when I was trying to learn, right? When I'm 10, 9, trying to learn about this rap shit. Like you had to ask questions. If you didn't ask questions or you didn't read the credits and then go look and talk and do all
Took research, took work.
Took some work. Are there names, because I know there's people watching right now, and I'm sure they heard Sugar Hill Gang. I'm sure they've heard Buena Vista Social Club, right? Obviously Kurtis Blow, Russell Simmons, these are names you've heard. Maybe DJ Hollywood, Grand Wizard Theodore, maybe you've heard that name. But are there other names, Grandmaster Cass, Melly Mel, these are maybe names you've heard. But are there names that we haven't heard in that transitional period between 78 and 80 when things, like you say, went into light speed? That Kurtis Blow would say, no, this guy right here. Like, a lot of people, this is later in the 80s, but even like Spoonie G and cats was making like street rap in Harlem. That was some real street shit. Are there other names that, like, if somebody's watching this right now, they can do a little research?
There are a whole slew of names. Kool Herc, I gotta give him a shout out. That's my dude right there. Africa Bambaataa. You have, of course, you name Grand Wizard Theodore, Grandmaster Flash, the Furious Five. You have the Funky 4+1 More. Big shout out to Sha Rock. You got the Fantastic Five. The Cold Crush Brothers. Shout out to Grandmaster Caz. You got the Fearless Four. You have the Treacherous Three. You have the Crash Crew. Can't forget them. That's the first rap group from Manhattan, going all the way back to Mike and Dave and people like that. I want to shout out Love Buck Starsky. Yeah. He was a versatile DJ and MC that played in both worlds. The shoe people and the sneaker people, Flash used to call them. Shout out to Grandmaster. Yeah, there are a lot of cats, man, back in the days, man, that helped pioneer this thing that never got the credit.
And when you go back and listen to those records, you will hear what they used to call like routines and ways that they've created songs that span time, that are still, call and response with the audience, things that the MC did or the DJ did, or a drum pattern, that was used, and things that were just chopped that you can still, hear in classic records today. So if you're into that and you want to do that research.
And not only that, if you go back further than that, like with every story of a Kurtis Blow or another MC, there's a neighborhood. And in that neighborhood, there were legends. And many of those legends never then went on to anything else, but they were the reason that people started DJing and MCing in each of those places.
And a lot of people don't know, hip-hop first started with the music. The music was so very important. See, we were in the world of disco, in the early 70s. and it monopolized the airwaves all around the country. Everybody was disco crazy. Y'all remember YMCA, Donna Summer, Patrick Jove, all that stuff. So we were a group of individuals in the ghetto that we didn't have the money to pay to get into these discos. So it was like a mutation of discos. Yeah, we were trying to be disco, but it was raw. It was uncut. It was different. We didn't play the same songs in the clubs uptown, in the parks, in the park jams. We had another kind of music that was like disco, but it was more of the music we listened to in the 60s and the early 70s, like James Brown, number one, Jimmy Castor, the Castor Bunch, and the Motown sound, and the Isley Brothers, all of that stuff. And we searched. We were researchers. We searched. We would go to your mom's house, and listen to the whole record collection and find that one groove, that one song that had a funky breakdown beat. So we could b-boy too. Flash calls it the get down part. And that was very, very important. So it was the music that really spawned breakdancing. It was music that really spawned Flash to take that break and just play the break back and forth, which was the first original break beats. And that gave us the opportunity as MCs to do more than just make announcements. Yo, Joey, your mom's outside, it's 10 o'clock, you know? So once Flash did that and the evolution of the turntables and the break beats, once we had the beat going back, and you could listen to the same beat in the park for 5-6 minutes straight. You know, all day in the park, we listened to the same beat. So the MCs did more than make announcements. That's when we started to rap.
And tell stories and share fantasies and romances, et cetera, et cetera.
And motivate the crowd, inspire the crowd to have a good time. If you're feeling good, say, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's not talk about it. Let's just speak and show off and talk about money.
Yeah.
And talk about being better than everybody else. Because a lot of times people get confused and they think the origins of hip-hop was like, we're here to talk about motivation and civil rights. That's not what everything was. There was a lot of trash talk, a lot of good times, a lot of that's what the party was. And, of course, a lot of and I'm sure some people know, and a lot of the kids who watch us don't know, that so much of that MC role came from the forefathers of this culture, who came from the islands, came from Jamaica, and what DJs were doing there, and how they control a party, and that translated into New York.
A lot of people don't know about that Eastern Parkway out there in Brooklyn, and all those battle of the DJs in the early 70s. Man, it was a sight to see. I mean, the whole Eastern Parkway was lit up with DJs on every block going down for like a mile. And it was incredible. Each block would have a different sound, and the sound systems were, I mean, shout out to Pete DJ Jones and Maboyer and Plummer and Grandmaster Flowers and
Flowers was big, right?
Rip and Cliff, all the in Morton Hall. Big shout out to Rocky Bucano and the Come Off crew.
What about the graffiti artists like OGs like Lee Quinones and like Lady Pink?
Yes.
Like, were they b-boys also at the same time, and they just express themselves by like hitting up trains and yards?
Yeah. This whole culture was like, you know, as teenagers, this is one of the things. When you say culture, you think like a way of life, the things we do from one point of the day, when we wake up until we go to sleep, the clothes we wear, the food we eat, the music we listen to, how we dance to that music, the art that we look at. So it was like during that time in the 70s when the Bronx was burning, and a lot of people stayed in these buildings that were burnt down by the landlords who were collecting insurance money. Yeah. So a lot of kids started writing on the walls about this, and it just became a part of something we did, you know, as self-expression, saying, you know, my name is John. It's my name. I leave my name to carry on. And those who knew me well, and those who didn't can go to hell. You know, and that was just self-expression, saying we live in all this rubble. We live in all of this, you know, degradation.
And don't forget about us. We're here.
We live in all this dirt, but we're not dirt. You know what I'm saying? And that's where graffiti came out of. And a lot of those pioneers, you know, it evolved to writing on the trains and the old gray dilapidated trains. And up in the Bronx, we all know they're elevated. So you can watch the number 6 train. You're 2 miles away. You can see this train riding around. And it's flying these enormous, colorful murals of your name. and you just see it, and you sit back 2 miles away, and it's like, wow, this is hip hop.
I'm all city now.
You know what I mean?
You see my name. I'm all city.
Who was Kurtis? Who was the DJ in your neighborhood? Who was the neighborhood DJ who set it off in the parks, like early before this? When this was, I'm talking mid '70s.
In my block, me.
You were the first one.
Yeah, when I was 13, I started DJing in 1972. And that's the thing, we used to, from the older cats, you know, I was like a good dancer. And the older kids used to come and get me when they had competitions, because, you know, a young kid dancing in front of
it's always the
people,
winner.
You know, it's shock value.
Yeah,
you know,
always
he always wins, so they always would come and get me, so my reputation got around. And when we started DJing, there was a cat, a friend of mine, his name was Anthony Foster. Big shout out to Ant. He had an older brother. His name was Al Foster, who was the drummer for Miles Davis. Now, Al Foster was an incredible drummer, and he had this deal with Yamaha. So he used to get all these speakers and everything. So Anthony Foster, his younger brother, used to get the overflow of the speakers.
Yeah, he was the plug.
And that's how that's how I got started. As a matter of fact, everyone in hip hop knows this guy, Keith Slav. He's a retarded kid who's in hip hop, and he DJs. Everybody knows Keith. That's Keith Slav's uncle that got me started. Yep.
Wow, great stories.
DJ.
And listen, you guys are hearing these names. You're on the internet already. Just Google the names. Click on a few links. Watch some of the videos that come up on YouTube. Learn a little something. And the museum that you're working on, the title, it'll be the Universal Hip Hop Museum.
Yes, go to uhh.m. And here's the thing about the uhhm.org.
.org.
Right?
Okay.
So here's the thing. There's a new thing called the virtual reality. Now, I want you guys to think about Total Recall, the movie Total Recall, and remember those glasses they put on there.
Yeah, they have the Samsung commercials
Yeah.
now. I think that was the LeBron commercial. Was the
same
Samsung
exact thing. But with Google, we're teamed up with Google and the Frame Store, this company called the Frame Store, and we have this 3D virtual reality presentation. Just think about Kurtis Blow in the studio, Ralston Recordings out in Brooklyn, where I recorded If I Rule the World. Same place where Dougie Fresh did the show and the Fat Boys did their first 2 albums at this landmark studio. And so I'm sitting there telling the story about If I Rule the World and everything, but you have on the glasses, you put your cell phone in the glasses, and it's like you click on the website, you go to the website, and you see this interview with Kurtis Blow. But as you have the glasses on, if you turn to your left, you can see the door. You're in the actual studio with me. And you could turn around. It's all 3D. You go behind Kurtis Blow. You can look down at my sneakers. You can look up at the ceiling, go to the window, look out the window. It's incredible. So it's virtual reality, and that whole presentation is part of the the Universal Hip Hop Museum. And we plan to use technology to tell the history of hip hop on the forefront of technology with this
uhhm.org.
Yes. Check out the Kurtis Blow virtual reality presentation.
You guys give it up for Kurtis Blow on the program, a legend. We appreciate you, sir, for keeping it going for us, man. Thank you.
KurtBlow.com.
Oh, you got it all lined up now.
KurtBlow.com. Take it from Dana Dane. I love you.